it's a tough decision for us to make financially, but it's the right move.
Absolutely.
You know, and as we look at it, man, it's hard, right? This one is pretty tough, and we.
Wait a minute. Are we the assholes? Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm back with another rail rambling video, and this week I think is going to be kind of an interesting one, probably a little controversial. I want to talk about the latest ScaleTrains video that they released, where they kind of apologized for a lot of mistakes that had been made with their product line in the last couple of runs. And you know, they promised a lot of changes. They promised even up to the point of replacing an entire locomotive and letting you keep the old one. So that's a pretty incredible thing for them to do. And this all stems around just mistakes that have been made in the ScaleTrains production process, and you know, them feeling like they sort of dropped the ball as far as expectations versus what was delivered. And this got me thinking and questioning if that response from ScaleTrains is their problem or is it ours? This is where it gets controversial. Let me first say that I love ScaleTrains. I've got a couple other locomotives. This is one of them, and I got another one on pre-order. And if I had it my way, I would just purchase solely from ScaleTrains for the rest of my life. I like their stuff that much. I also am not a quote-unquote rivet counter, so I couldn't tell you, whether or not a locomotive has the correct horn for that railroad or that, that run of numbers. I couldn't tell you if the headlight placement is correct, or if something should or shouldn't have dynamic brakes. To me, if it looks good, if it's got lots of little details, grab irons, lift rings, MU hoses, if it's got all that kind of stuff, it's good. It's good enough. And if you are one of those people who that detail is an important thing for you, more power to you. I'm not that guy. So take what I have to say, that I'm coming at it from that angle. One of the things that ScaleTrains talked about was color accuracy, and whether or not something was painted wrong. And they would show a couple of images of locomotives, one that's in sort of the pre-production paint and then the production paint, and they look different from each other. But they both look pretty good anyway. Cascade Green, for example, Cascade Green. This one looks fine. I've got two other locomotives in Cascade Green, one from Atlas, one from Athearn, and all three of these locomotives have a different color green. I couldn't tell you which one was the real Cascade Green, and I've seen Cascade Green locomotives in person, quite a few times. So I think it's just like, my question is, are we expecting too much from these manufacturers? If they get something wrong, like for example, if something is advertised with coming with ditch lights and then the delivered product doesn't have ditch lights, or I think they said ground lights. One of them was advertised as having ground lights, and then the product that got delivered didn't have ground lights. Yeah, that's probably an issue. But like, I don't know specifically what was wrong with the CNIC locomotives that it was so bad that they decided to give you a whole brand new locomotive. And maybe there were big issues there. But if there are a lot of small issues, like I remember back in the day when a rivet counting prototype modeler was somebody who took a locomotive from a manufacturer and added that detail on, replaced, moved the headlights to a different location, replaced the cab with a different, more accurate cab. Should we be relying so heavily on the manufacturer to do a lot of this work for us at the cost of just more expensive locomotives, longer manufacturing time? So if we pre-order a locomotive, it takes even longer for it to get to us. and also running the risk of, if we're expecting more accurate locomotives and more detailed locomotives, that introduces just greater risk of something going wrong, right? The more accurate we need it to be, the more the greater the risk is that if something goes wrong, it's going to show up, right? How much of that should be put on the manufacturer's shoulders, and how much of it, as quote unquote modelers, should we just be doing ourselves if that is something that is important to us? I'd hate to see ScaleTrains go out of business because of a trend that they kind of started. There's a trend that they really leaned heavily into, which was as 100% accurate as possible. And yeah, I mean, if they're going to charge what they charge, and they're going to say they're going to deliver what they're going to deliver, then they should deliver on that, right? But should we expect that much from them, from these manufacturers? I don't know. I mean, that used to be our job, right? These hyper detailed locomotives. This whole movement to getting it from the factory is. I mean, look, in a lot of ways, it's what got me back into the hobby. When I saw my first 2-bay cement hopper from Athearn that had etched metal roof walks and all the little piping and all the little details, it's what got me back in the hobby, because when I was a kid, if you wanted that level of detail, you had to do it yourself. And it's something that I wasn't going to be skilled enough to do back then, and it wasn't something that I was really that interested in recreating because it just looked so hard. And now so much of that has been sort of taken off of our hands as modelers. There's a lot of advantages there, but I think what we're seeing with ScaleTrains and some of the hits they're taking recently, I think is we're seeing the other side of that coin now, right? We're seeing where, like, ooh, this is actually pretty difficult to get right 100% of the time. And should we expect that? Should we expect 100% accuracy in all of our locomotives 100% of the time? I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about. All right, I'm rambling, so I will cut it there. What do you guys think? Are you like me? Is it something that concerns you about the future of this hobby? Let me know what you think in the comments, and maybe we can have a discussion down there. Keep it civil though, please. All right, so that's enough for me today. Thanks a lot for checking out this video, and I'll see everyone in a different video.